There were two versions of Dwayne Johnson in Studio 6B that Thursday night. One was sitting on stage, The Rock, the highest paid actor in Hollywood, 6'5", of pure charisma, worth $800 million, beloved by millions. The other was frozen somewhere in 1989, a 17-year-old kid sitting in Coach Raymond Mills' office at Freedom High School in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, getting cut from the football team, his dreams destroyed, being told by his coach, "Son, your football career might be over, but your life isn't. You'll be somebody. I promise." Dwayne Johnson had spent 34 years becoming somebody. He'd become The Rock. He'd conquered WWE. He'd conquered Hollywood. He'd proven Coach Mills right. But he'd never had the chance to say thank you. Because after graduation, Coach Mills had a stroke. He couldn't coach anymore. He disappeared from Dwayne's life. And for 34 years, Dwayne carried the guilt of never going back, never finding him, never saying the words, "Coach, you were right. I became somebody." Until row 7, seat 8, where Raymond Mills sat with a whistle and a secret, he'd been watching the whole time. Studio 6B was packed with energy that October evening. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was the guest, there to promote his latest blockbuster action film. The audience was electric. Fans wearing People's Champion shirts, holding signs, completely ready to celebrate one of Hollywood's biggest stars. What the producers didn't know was that row 7, seats 7, 8, and 9 held 3 people with a very specific mission. Raymond Mills, 75 years old, sat between his wife Linda, 73, and their grandson Kyle, 28. Raymond wore a burgundy Freedom High School football jacket, the same one he'd worn as head coach from 1977 to 1990. In his jacket pocket, wrapped carefully in a handkerchief, was a silver Acme Thunderer whistle, the same whistle he'd used to command practices for 13 years, the same whistle he hadn't blown since November 1989. Linda had made the decision. When Kyle mentioned he'd gotten Tonight Show tickets and Dwayne Johnson would be the guest, she'd grabbed her husband's arm. "Ray," she'd said, "it's time. You need to tell him." Raymond had protested. "Tell him what? That his old high school coach is proud of him? He doesn't remember me, Linda. That was 34 years ago." "He remembers," Linda had said firmly, "and you need to let him say thank you. You saved that boy's life, Raymond. You know you did." So here they were. Raymond's hands shook slightly as he held the whistle through the fabric of his jacket pocket. Parkinson's, the doctors had said 3 years ago. His coaching days were long behind him, but the whistle still worked perfectly. The show opened with Jimmy's energetic monologue. When he introduced Dwayne Johnson, the applause was thunderous. The Rock walked out in a perfectly fitted black suit, his massive frame and megawatt smile commanding the entire studio. He gave Jimmy the signature Rock handshake hug combo and settled into the guest chair with easy confidence. "Dwayne 'The Rock' Johnson," Jimmy said with enthusiasm. "Brother, you just keep getting bigger. Like, literally. Are you eating other action stars?" Dwayne laughed, that deep, genuine laugh. "Just lots of cod, Jimmy. So much cod. My grocery store has a cod alert system now." The audience loved it. The Rock was in his element. Charming, funny, larger than life. "So the new movie is insane," Jimmy continued. "You're basically saving the world again. Do you ever get tired of being the hero?" "Never," Dwayne said, his tone becoming more serious. "Because I remember when I wasn't the hero. I remember when I was the kid who didn't think he'd be anything." Jimmy leaned forward. "You've talked about having $7 to your name. That's become legendary." $7, Dwayne confirmed. "But you know what's interesting, Jimmy? Everyone focuses on the $7, but what really mattered was the moment right before that. November 1989. I was 17 years old, just got cut from the University of Miami football team. Football was everything to me. It was my identity, my future, my whole world. And in one meeting, it was gone. The studio was quiet now, everyone listening. I came back to Freedom High School in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, completely lost," Dwayne continued. "And my coach, Raymond Mills, Coach Mills, he sat me down in his office. I thought he was going to give me the 'it'll be okay' speech. Instead, he looked me dead in the eye and said, Your football career might be over, but your life isn't. You'll be somebody, I promise." Dwayne's voice caught slightly. I didn't believe him. I had $7, no team, no plan, no future, but Coach Mills believed it. And that belief, that one man's belief, it saved my life. In row 7, Raymond Mills had tears streaming down his face. Linda squeezed his hand. "I never went back," Dwayne said quietly. "Coach Mills had a stroke right after I graduated. I heard he couldn't coach anymore, and He paused, emotion clear in his voice. "I never thanked him. For 34 years I've carried that. The guilt of becoming somebody and never going back to tell the man who believed first." That's when Raymond Mills made a decision. His hands shaking, he pulled the silver whistle from his pocket. He looked at Linda, who nodded through tears. And then, before he could second-guess himself, before fear could stop him, he brought the whistle to his lips and blew. Tweet, tweet. 2 sharp blasts, clear, loud, unmistakable. Dwayne Johnson's entire body froze. His eyes went wide. His head turned slowly toward the audience, scanning for the source of a sound he hadn't heard in 34 years. The cameras followed his gaze and found Raymond Mills standing in row 7, still in his burgundy Freedom High School jacket, holding up the silver whistle with shaking hands. The studio fell completely silent. "Coach Mills?" Dwayne whispered, barely audible. Then louder, "Coach Mills?" Raymond nodded, unable to speak. Dwayne stood up without asking permission. He walked off the stage, down the steps, directly into the audience. Jimmy immediately followed, abandoning all protocol. When Dwayne reached row 7, people shifted to create space. He stopped at Raymond's row, and for a long moment, the two men just stared at each other, the 17-year-old kid and the coach who saved him, now both decades older but connected by a moment that never aged. "Coach," Dwayne said, his voice breaking, "is that really you?" "Hello, Johnson," Raymond said, using Dwayne's last name the way coaches do. "Told you you'd be somebody." That broke Dwayne completely. The Rock, the man who'd faced down countless opponents in WWE rings, who'd saved the world in countless movies, who was known for being unshakable, wrapped his arms around his 75-year-old former coach and sobbed. Raymond held him, one hand patting Dwayne's massive back the way he'd done to countless players after tough games. "Proud of you, son," Raymond said softly. "So damn proud." The studio was silent except for the sound of hundreds of people crying. Jimmy Fallon had completely given up trying to maintain composure. He was openly weeping, not even trying to hide it. When they finally pulled apart, Dwayne kept his hands on Raymond's shoulders. "Coach, I'm so sorry. I should have come back. I should have found you. I should have—" "Stop," Raymond interrupted gently. "Johnson, you think I didn't know what you were doing? You think I didn't watch?" Dwayne looked confused. "What?" "I watched every WWE match I could find," Raymond said. "I watched every movie. I read every interview. When you won your first championship, I cried like a baby. When you became the highest paid actor in Hollywood, I told everyone at the VFW, that's my player. I coached him. You didn't need to come back, son. You were busy becoming exactly what I told you you'd be." "But I never thanked you," Dwayne said, tears still streaming. "Coach, you saved my life. When I had $7 and no future, you gave me belief. You gave me hope. Everything I am, everything, it started in your office that day." Raymond held up the whistle. "You remember what I told you when I gave you this sound?" Dwayne nodded. "You said, when you hear this whistle, you remember, Coach Mills believes in you, even when you don't believe in yourself." "And did you?" Raymond asked. "Did you remember?" "Every single day," Dwayne said. "Every time I wanted to quit, every time I thought I wasn't good enough, I heard that whistle in my head. I heard you telling me I'd be somebody." Raymond's hands were shaking harder now, Parkinson's making it difficult to hold the whistle steady. But he managed to hold it out to Dwayne. "I think it's time you had this, because you were right, Johnson. You became somebody. Hell, you became the Rock." Dwayne took the whistle with both hands, holding it like it was made of gold. "Coach, this is... I can't... You can," Raymond said firmly, Because it's not my whistle anymore, it's yours. It always was. From the moment I told you you'd be somebody, that whistle was blowing for you." Dwayne looked at the whistle, then at his coach, then back at the whistle. And then he did something that made the entire studio gasp. He brought the whistle to his lips and blew it. Tweet, tweet. The same sound, the same two sharp blasts. But this time, it wasn't a coach commanding his player. It was a man honoring his teacher. "That's for you, coach," Dwayne said. "For believing when nobody else did. For seeing something in a broke kid with $7. For making me promise I'd be somebody, and then watching to make sure I kept that promise." Raymond smiled through tears. "You kept it, Johnson. You really kept it." Jimmy finally found his voice. "Coach Mills, can I ask you something? Why tonight? Why after 34 years did you decide to come?" Raymond looked at his wife, then at his grandson, then back at Dwayne. "My grandson Kyle got these tickets. And my wife Linda, she's been telling me for years that I needed to let Dwayne say thank you. But I always thought, what do I have to offer The Rock? He's got everything." Then Kyle showed me something on his phone. He showed me a video of Dwayne talking about his $7, about that time in his life, and Dwayne said something that broke my heart. He said he'd never thanked the coach who believed in him first. He said he carried that guilt for 34 years. Raymond's voice cracked. That's when I knew. I had to come. Because that guilt, that's a weight nobody should carry, especially not for something as simple as gratitude. So I brought the whistle I used to coach him, the whistle I hadn't blown since 1989, and I thought, if he hears it, maybe he'll remember, maybe he'll know. "I remembered," Dwayne said softly. "Coach, the second I heard that whistle, I was 17 again. I was in your office. I was broke and scared, and you were telling me I'd be somebody. That sound, it's carved into my soul." Jimmy addressed the audience. "I think we need to take a moment to understand what we just witnessed. This is The Rock, one of the biggest stars on the planet, and Coach Mills just reminded him of something we all need to remember. Behind every success story is someone who believed first. A teacher, a coach, a mentor, someone who saw potential when we couldn't see it ourselves." Dwayne nodded. "Coach Mills didn't just teach me football. He taught me that belief is a gift, and when someone gives you that gift, you honor it by becoming what they saw in you. For 34 years, I've been honoring Coach's belief, but tonight, I finally get to say the words, 'Thank you, Coach. Thank you for believing. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for that whistle.' Because every time I heard it, I heard possibility." The show had to take a break, because everyone was too emotional to continue. During the break, Dwayne stayed with Coach Mills. They talked about Freedom High School, about the players they both remembered, about Raymond's stroke and retirement, about the years in between. Kyle, Raymond's grandson, quietly filmed part of the conversation on his phone. Later, that footage would go viral. Just two men, one young, one old, connected by belief and gratitude. When the show came back, Dwayne had brought Coach Mills onto the stage to sit with him. Jimmy interviewed them both. "Coach Mills," Jimmy said, "what was it about Dwayne that made you believe?" Raymond thought for a moment. "It wasn't anything dramatic. It was simple. The kid showed up. Even after getting cut, even after his dreams died, he showed up to school the next day. Most kids would have quit, would have given up, but Johnson came back, and if you're willing to show up after your worst day, that tells me everything I need to know about who you'll become." "And you were right," Jimmy said. "He became The Rock." "He became Dwayne Johnson," Raymond corrected. "The Rock is what the world sees. But Dwayne Johnson, the man who shows up even when it's hard, that's who I always knew he'd be." The segment went viral within hours. Coach Mills and The Rock trended worldwide, but more importantly, the clip sparked a movement. Thank your coach. Thousands of people shared stories about teachers, coaches, and mentors who'd believed in them first. Freedom High School received hundreds of letters and donations in Coach Mills's name, enough to create the Raymond Mills Scholarship for students who needed belief more than ability. Dwayne personally funded the scholarship's endowment with a $1 million donation. At the announcement, he said, "Coach Mills gave me belief when I had $7. This scholarship gives other kids belief regardless of what's in their pocket." Coach Raymond Mills became a celebrity in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. The local news interviewed him, students visited him, but his favorite moment came 3 weeks after the Tonight Show appearance, when a package arrived at his house. Inside was a custom-made display case. In it, the silver Acme Thunderer whistle mounted under glass, with an engraving that read, "Coach Raymond Mills, you believed first. Thank you for the whistle, the belief, and for teaching me that showing up is the bravest thing you can do." Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Raymond hung it in his living room, and every day when he looked at it, he didn't see a whistle. He saw every kid he'd ever coached. He saw every life he'd touched. He saw proof that belief matters, that mentorship matters, that sometimes one conversation in a coach's office can change the entire trajectory of a life. Because Dwayne Johnson had $7 in 1989. But what he really needed was someone to tell him he'd be somebody. Coach Raymond Mills gave him that. And 34 years later, The Rock gave him something back. The chance to know his belief hadn't been wasted. The chance to see that his words, "You'll be somebody," hadn't just been spoken, they'd been lived. Some whistles command plays, some whistles end games. But Coach Mills's whistle did something more powerful. It started a life, and when that life became legendary, the whistle came home. Tweet, tweet. 2 sharp blasts. The sound of belief, the sound of mentorship, the sound of a coach who saw a broke kid with $7 and said, "You'll be somebody," and the sound of a man who spent 34 years proving him right.